Bill Stimson is up. Bill, thank you for joining us this evening and part two, I believe.
Building with Modulars Part 2. As you'll recall, when we last saw these buildings, this is what they looked like. They're just kind of plain buildings with some paint and some windows. So we move on. We need to add some details. Well, I happen to have this set from Blair Line. It has a bunch of fans and vents, and I picked a few of those out. And then I found that I had purchased this Ally Forms roof water tank kit. It's a bunch of white metal castings and actually builds up pretty nice, as you can see on the right, with a little bit of care and some paint. Looks pretty much like a wooden water tank. Um, Here are all the detail parts that I've now painted and assembled. You can see the fan, a couple of vents, some ladders, some people. The three of them were just unpainted, and I've added a coat and a face and an end scale. You don't have to paint a whole lot of detail on a figure because you can't see the damn thing. Um, there's a stovepipe from our rail scale models, a couple of lights that I'm not sure where they came from, and some vent pipes. And all of that goes to help make the roof look a little less boring and the building look more like it's lived in. The other thing it needed is some signs. Well, printed up a sign here. And um, 2 weeks ago, I went to a modeling with the masters with Clark Kooning, who many of you probably know. And he taught me a little bit about doing signs with tissue, not Kleenex, for blowing your nose, but tissue like the paper you would stuff in gifts and stuff. Well, you can see here's how I did the sign. You print the sign on the copy paper, and then I laid a piece of tissue over the top of it so that you can see through and you can make sure you line it up. Then this thing, I doctored up this photo to show there's edge of tissue paper there, and I taped all the way around the damn thing. Um, and then I printed it on the printer, and when I cut it out, there's the piece of on the copy paper, and there's the sign on the tissue paper. And it does a really good job. Here it is. Unfortunately, I think I put it on a little too soon after I printed it, and I ended up with some streaks. But after looking at it for a while, I went, that accidental streaking kind of looks like some weathering. So we let it be. You actually use to fasten this, you attach it with some full strength white glue. You don't use half strength or anything else. It just attaches with that. And then you can force it into the mortar joints of the brick a little bit with a silicone brush, which I found interesting. Then I realized after I was looking at the building, I went, well, oops, I forgot to put window stuff in. So I cut some window shades out of some tissue paper and glued it to the acetate and did it in various. Um, so some windows have less shade and some have more, as you can see in the picture on the right, to make it look a little more lived in. And then I started adding the details. So you can see the lights over the two doors, the big fan. There's the stovepipe, the water filter, or water tank, I mean, some vents. The second sign I put on this side of the building. And now it's starting to look a little more like a real building instead of just a plastic model. So next step was to see if I can eliminate the elevation needed to get the loading docks more in line with reality. And I stumbled on a piece of cork that I'd found, 0.02 inch cork road bed or cork sheet that I got when I was at a military modeling show. And so I put that down, and then I put some, oops, uh, back, put some spackle down for the to kind of fill in the cork. And then I started painting aged concrete on the sidewalks and the road on the left side, some um, grimy black for the asphalt, and some light brown for the dirt area. And I put the building back in place, and you can see that it's starting to look a little more like the trucks will back up to a loading dock, and you won't be loading onto the top of the truck. You'll be loading onto the bed when the doors are open. And then I decided I needed a billboard. So I started building. These are just some small pieces of strip wood to make a billboard. And then here we go. Now we're in progress. We're not quite there yet. I have still haven't printed a sign, but you can see from there the trucks are now backing up right about to the right spot on the loading dock. So I took it out and I added some ballast to the track and some grass and dirt. And now we're finished, sort of, because I discovered I didn't add a third sign to the other side. I probably need some lines on the road over here on this side, on the left side of the building, but it's close. You know, um, this side with the railroad car on it needs another sign. I need to get a billboard sign built, but I just kind of ran out of time today. But there's where I'm at. So, any questions, comments?
I've got a comment, Bill. I mean, what's really unique about what you've done here is not only is it not a kit per se, it's their modular system. So you've created a building that's basically uniquely your own. But then by adding details like the water tank, the billboard, the light, vents, weathering it, and mounting it in the proper height for the loading dock, you've really made something really unique. And having modeled in N scale, this is not necessarily easy to do.
You got that right.
So,
I was I was trying to paint those figures, and I'm like, do I bother putting eyeballs on this thing? I'm not sure I've got a paintbrush small enough to do that.
but that billboard is extraordinary. I don't think people, there's a lot of O scalers on the program. I don't think a lot of people appreciate how difficult it is to do what you just did in N scale. And when I did N scale from 2007 to 2005, so I've been there. Why I switched to O scale? You did you're doing a great job with that. Yeah.
Thank you.